Now you fucked up my rhythm by talking, Mike.
It's not his fault.
Well, fuck you. That's what you get for encouraging me, you dick.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast, your bi-weekly podcast that delivers an episode-by-episode breakdown of the original G1 series. This is APDC, episode 196, closing in on 200, I understand.
No, 200 episode, plans empty.
Maybe let's brainstorm this episode. That we are covering Carnage in C-Minor, which is episode number 82 of the season 3 G1 Transformers series, broadcast October 14th, 1986. This is your host Aaron, along with the Jose Carreras, that's Caleb, Placido Domingo, that's Ryan, and Mario Lanza, special guest Mike Seibert, of course, to my Luciano Pavarotti. That's the Four Tenors reference.
Yeah, I get it.
I like how you call him. I like how you call him Placido.
I don't know. Placebo?
Placido.
You know, fellas,
Oh, man, you got placenta all over the place.
do you ever get tired of people asking how we all met?
I
Never.
constantly on the street coming up to me.
Let me just sum it up real quick. Have you seen the movie Almost Famous?
Yes.
No.
All right, well, that movie was based on our life. The Cameron Crowe child prodigy rock journalist is me. Mike was the handsome mustachioed guitar player that cuddled with Kate Hudson. Caleb was, I don't know, Francis
That ain't a
McDormand.
bad gig.
And Ryan, you'll like this. You're Jason Lee.
I haven't seen that movie.
Quick, easy. That's how you got to do it sometimes. Lock the gates.
He's a Scientologist, I think.
Oh,
I think
no.
you're right. I
But
read that.
seems like a good, like a nice guy.
Lock the Gates is Mark Maron's contribution to that
Way to
movie.
pick that up. Good
Yeah.
job. Yeah. I think that's his only line in the movie.
It's other stuff, but that's what that's like when
He's
he
known
starts
for
his
Lock
own
the
podcast.
Gates.
It's like lock the gates, and
Right.
then his podcast.
I feel like
starts.
I'm out of my depth.
Yeah. Well, you need to get up on your Cameron Crowe mythology.
No.
Do you, though?
Exactly.
Has he made a movie worth talking about in the last
Wasn't it Home
15
Alone?
years? Huh?
No, that's Christopher Columbus.
That's right. I'm stupid.
Who do I
Yes.
look like? Christopher Columbo?
I think we can all agree that Jerry Maguire is a perfectly serviceable movie.
That's funny. Actually, I was talking to West about that. She's never seen it, and I'm like, that is how I described it to her. I was like, it's not good, but it is serviceable and enjoyable, and we have to watch it.
I think it's a good movie.
I
there's a
don't
lot to
know.
like about Jerry Maguire.
There is a lot to like, but it is like a movie made, like if an AI made a movie, that might be
It
the
does
movie.
have that vibe.
Oh, yeah. It's okay for something to be of his time. Also, from the internet ticker, Cameron Crowe is still currently serving a sentence in movie jail because his last movie was 2015's Aloha. Aloha.
Not
ladies and
familiar.
gentlemen.
Not familiar with Aloha.
In which Emma Stone plays an Asian person.
Oh.
That's rough. And Emma Stone didn't get put in movie jail. She's still hot shit.
That's for sure.
Welcome to the
I'll
show,
co-sign
Mike.
That all day, every day. Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me.
So Mike Seibert, I hesitate to say it, but it's been a while.
Has it?
Actually,
For this guy, yeah, actually.
only for me, I guess. Thanks for filling in. You played the Aaron role perfectly during my hiatus.
Yeah, that was fun times, and I've run into this latter day pattern of where I only join you guys for bad episodes and bad episodes that feature Broadside. What a weird pattern.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, Broadside's in like 3 episodes, and I've been on 2 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, Five Faces of Darkness. Are we counting Broadside in that as in
No.
jet mode? No.
No.
Oh, all right.
I don't know if we
Because
have
what
you for any more episodes in this season, Mike.
I haven't called any more shots.
I don't plan on falling asleep in this one.
Yeah. So it's just just
I find that unlikely. Challenge accepted.
That's one of the reasons I was inspired to buy these chairs so that I would not.
it is
Drift
His
in
have
slumber.
spikes in this seat.
Oh God!
Extra long one
not
in the
to
anus.
not to be too inside baseball, but these chairs are so much better than the couch and this table. Oh, this is so what a good job, Caleb.
Thank you.
Caleb
So you've constructed a new moon base? Is that what's going on
Yes.
here?
Same space.
We've done some capital investment to the current moon base.
It's
Yes.
true,
Okay.
and it's tax write-off.
Yeah, so much tax legislation that may or may not make it. To
It
the
is
bonus
fun
episode.
to get
The
to.
inevitable bonus episode, I'm sure.
It's fun to get to middle-aged white man status where you're like tax write-off.
Yeah. Just think about the deductions I'm going to
Yeah.
get from this.
We're not trying to change the system. We're just trying to play within it.
Fuck yeah.
To
Fuck yeah.
do our best.
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, I would say everybody should have an LLC and figure out what you can
Get
do
away
with
with.
that.
Because fuck the government.
Are you down with LLC? Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
It relies on me.
second
Bite at the
reference
apple.
to Naughty by Nature.
Well,
and-
technically the first because we hadn't started the show yet.
Well,
Peek
So-
behind the curtain.
now I know what needs to go up
Actually-
top.
Yeah.
So what is new?
This is off to a good start.
What is new in the Mike Seibert radio extravaganza?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I guess up top, headline news more than anything. I done launched another podcast.
We don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about your Lambro collection.
Okay, that's
no, I'm
fine.
just
I mean,
no, I'm
I-
just kidding. I'm just joking.
I was
What
gonna say,
what the
I
hell?
spent 3 hours on a live stream talking about them Lambros. I could talk about them side swipes as much as the day is long. Do you know there's 12 different recolors and toolings of that same mold, and I have them all. The differences are subtle, but many.
Okay, well that's I guess we've covered it.
Tell us about the new show, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. So this actually has roots in APDC lore. It's 3 to 4 years in the tinkering and planning and teasing, but finally available for your subscriptions is Two Mikes Too Furious animated Transformers, where me and the other Mike, Michael Andrews, are doing a watch through podcast very similar to what you guys are doing, but we're talking about 2007 to 2009's Transformers animated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it sounds like you're the competition now.
That's right.
We're doing that
Let me
too.
bring up some online. Yeah, no, we don't have.
Some
We don't have.
legislation.
We don't have to go into that. I'm
Talking
uh,
about
I'm
inside baseball.
I'm just subtweeting and having fun with it.
I consider
That
it part
guy
of that
had-
I consider this part of the APDC family.
Oh, yeah. With-
Well, even in the episode, we talked a little bit about the origins of the show, and acknowledged that Two Mikes Too Furious is kind of like a weird spiritual spin-off of APDC, even though none of you guys are involved. Basically, like it was like in June, July 2019, and I forget which episode it was, but you guys had some kind of legislation where like the APDC family was growing at an exponential rate, and there were just too many mics in the staple there, and it was decided by you guys at that time that one of the mics got to go. So I proposed in a very Joker Dark Knight turn that we would have snap tryouts to figure out who the dominant mic would be, but then undeterred, Michael Andrews came up with an even better idea. He's like, we should just do our own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, that's kind of where the Two Mikes Too Furious infamous name came from, because I'm terrible at naming things, and I like the sound of it because I think Too Fast Too Furious is one of the most obnoxiously brilliant.
Absolutely.
It's sublime in its simplicity and nonsensical nature as well. It's delightfully daffy. I guess. So I've always liked that naming convention. I tried to convince him to title his second book in the Coming of Mage saga. I call it Two Mage, Two Furious. He called it A War for the Mages instead. I think Two Mage, Two Furious would have been better. And at that time, he's like, you know what? I'm going to save that for later for another project. So it's something we had been talking about on and off for the last several years, but then it almost became a COVID project. Like he was doing a lot of working from home. I was doing a lot of working from work, but I was kind of like in a creative funk. You know, it's like, so like, while everyone else was learning how to make sourdough bread and doing home improvements, my day-to-day never really changed, except for there's nobody in the office.
You're an essential worker,
You're an essential
Mike.
worker, exactly.
I had a letter from the Department of Defense just in case, like, I don't know. It's so weird to think about what early 2020 was like.
I have that letter. I still, just for fun, I have it tri-folded up in my visor of my vehicle because they said, I printed it out. It had the president of my company's signature on it. And it was like that first 90 days. And it was like, in case you get pulled over by law enforcement, you can produce this letter so that you can continue on with your business. And I still have it in there just because it's like, you know, it hasn't been that long ago, but it's like, this is such a weird artifact to have. And I still just
it's
keep
like they
it
were
in there.
preparing for the authoritarian shutdown of everything.
So
it is an
you've got
interesting
yours
thing,
as well.
like an interesting thing to try to explain to your grandchildren of like, this is what it was like in 2020.
Why is Grandpa use hand sanitizer so much? Don't worry about it. He was there for 2020. But anyway, so like I found myself in a little bit of a creative funk with Mike Seibert Radio, and I wanted to do something different. I hit up my dude Michael Andrews, who had recently been a guest on my show at some point. We, talked about the Michael Bay movies. Talked a lot about that. But I don't remember which one of us came up with it. In fact, I think to get the straight poop, you'd have to have us both on together to kind of tell both sides of our story. But more or less, like, it was like, well, why don't we do an APDC style watch through of Transformers Animated? Because for me, as I've met more folks in the fandom over the last 3-4 years, the one thing that folks have told me more than anything is watch Transformers Animated because of the amount of Easter eggs and references. There is stuff for you, Mike Seibert, super fan of Transformers the movie. There's more connective tissue and references and Easter eggs than you would expect. And so I've always been meaning to give it a day in court, but instead of just, like a normal person sitting down and watching it, when you're a podcaster, everything is content. Everything is content. So it's like, well, how do I make this content? So it was kind of those converging philosophies that was like, okay, well, fine. So I could do it as a podcast. Why don't I do it with Transformers Animated super fan Michael Andrews?
I've listened to about half of the first episode that came out yesterday and really enjoying it. And so what I can pick up on it is, Michael's a super fan. You are watching it as you go through it.
Correct.
Yep. So
for the first time.
Correct.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you're transparent about that, and also it's really fun because I'm on your side of it. Like, I haven't watched the show, and it's really cool to hear somebody that hasn't seen it experience it for the first time. Also, I do find it interesting how Michael is trying to not reveal too much during the episode to allow for you to have those surprises on the recording. So I'm enjoying it very much.
This will be like how when we get to Beast Wars.
It really will be.
Yeah.
So how are you? So you guys have one episode out. This has been recorded, obviously.
Technically
in the past.
2, right? Because the Halloween thing.
Well, yes, I should say this is the first official Two Mikes, Two Furious. There were some Two Mikes, Two Furious collabs in the past, but as far as this new incarnation of it, you guys, how often are you putting out episodes, and where can they catch those episodes?
Okay. Couple things. One, since Aaron mentioned it, we did a soft pilot back around Halloween time, because really, once upon a time when we were trying to figure out when we were going to launch this thing, it was always to coincide with doing the Halloween episode of TFA around Halloween time. If you happen to have heard that episode on my feed, Michael Andrews talks a lot about how the Halloween season is his favorite, and this particular Halloween episode of Transformers Animated, which we believe is the only Halloween related Transformers anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was really important for him to want to do that episode around Halloween time. So we got to a point where it's like, well, shit, we know we want to do Two Mikes, Too Furious, but looking at the time, there's not enough time to do 9 episodes. It's episode 9 of season 1 of TFA. So it's like, we kind of missed the window. So it's like the only way for that to go to line up again would be to wait until next year. And that wasn't something either of us was interested in.
Yeah.
So I said, tell you what, let's just do a episode on that episode and just put it out. That will give us the opportunity to kind of feel each other out as co-hosts, to feel how that goes for us. And then that will kind of also help us visualize how we want the shows to go when we actually do Two Mikes, Too Furious for real. So we did that. So that's available on the Mike Seibert Radio podcast feed. So what we're going to do is that's not Two Mikes, Too Furious canon. So what's going to happen is, now that we're starting from episode 1, when we get to episode 9, very similar to when you guys covered Dark Awakening, we're just going to do it again and do another a redo episode of that, because by then I will have seen the other 8 episodes leading up to it.
Interesting.
So I would imagine that my perspective will be different.
Yeah.
I should also note here that Two Mikes, Too Furious does exist as a separate podcast feed. So you'll have to subscribe separately. And we're kind of like in a weird spot with like tape delay. Currently, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. As of this recording, it's not on Apple Podcasts yet, but by the time this episode drops, it should.
Okay.
It takes a
How are you? So this is more like just interesting for us, because we don't have anything on YouTube right now. You guys are putting that. So what do you guys are actually putting out your audio episodes on
Yes.
YouTube? We need to do
Yes.
that.
Yeah, I looked into it. Like Mike, this is I'll probably cut all this
Right?
out.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, good luck trying to on-ramp this back on, because we're knuckle deep.
I can do it. I can do it. I can do
It's
it.
fine.
I got it. I got a good transition.
Okay.
Hey, TFCon LA and Orlando are upon us. Do we have any? I know it's a ways out for one of those, and the other's a little closer in. Do we have any plans? What are we doing?
I'm going to Orlando probably.
Me too.
Ooh, 2 Orlandos.
Wes and I'll probably, almost certainly go to Orlando.
Yes.
Mike Seibert of Mike Seibert Radio. What? Anything? You on to either of these?
I am on the fence about LA. By the time this episode drops, when like the hotel window closes, I'm using that as a deadline for making a decision. But I think I'm gonna sit this one out. I went last year, and really, guest wise, there really isn't anything that's grabbing my attention. There's a lot of terrific guests, but nobody really for me.
Are you talking about LA?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
even know who's on the guest list for
Because
either.
it is like, I mean, that's not a short. That's a short flight for you. Like to Orlando would be like it's across the country.
Right. Well, and so that's the thing. It's like, so I don't know if it's an either or situation, but I'm really pushing my chips in on Orlando. I'm really looking to do that. Yeah. Oh yeah. And if it means not going to LA, I think I would gladly make that choice.
Mhm.
we might be doing I don't know, we might do like Disney or something
Yeah.
like that before then. I mean,
I
Epcot.
was thinking of going West. I was thinking of like West has never been to Disney World. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
It's great.
We should go.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
I remember going to Epcot as a kid, and it was like that. I actually saw the Captain EO show
Yeah.
in Epcot whenever it was. I think that was 80. I think that was this year.
Yeah.
1986.
yeah, I think it's 86.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So I'm going to go to Orlando, and it'll probably be a family affair because
we could all go to Disney World together.
we could. Yeah, it'd be a great time. I love Epcot.
Me too.
Epcot's pretty cool.
Epcot's got the good food and drinks.
Primarily,
Yeah.
I mean that's yeah,
Let's drink in every country, guys.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
emphasis
We
on drink.
should do that. Actually, I think drinking around the world sounds like a fun event.
We'll bring the Zoom.
we'll bring the Zoom.
Maybe we'll broadcast.
there you go.
Maybe we'll finally have we'll broadcast from there.
Unlikely.
So
Yes.
Because I mean, we're like
You're
0
right.
for 4.
You're
like,
right.
doing
No,
content
you're
in
right.
the-
I always
You're
bring the
so
Zoom.
right.
We never use
You're
it.
so right.
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah, me too. I mean, I bring my field recorder and my mics and all that stuff. Yeah, I never use it.
I meant to apologize because you were in a hot and heavy recording session. I had to leave early from TFCon Chicago this year, and I was wanting to say goodbye to you. I never got a chance to
You
say
were up in
goodbye.
the VIP section.
Yeah,
of
you
the-
all were. You all had a thing
of
going
the
on.
transmissions.
That was
Yeah,
I thought about it later. That was the room where we were trying to psych ourselves up before we went on that Sunday, and Caleb informed me that I smelled like shit.
What?
I don't remember this.
And I got really self-conscious and
I
went
don't remember
upstairs to
this.
my room and brushed my teeth 4 times. And
I
you know,
don't
we've been
remember this.
drinking and
I'm sorry.
smoking and stuff like the whole weekend. And so
That was this year that I said that.
no. It was
Previous.
the first time we were in
okay.
Chicago.
Oh,
That-
okay.
so I would just flash back to that little
All
side
right.
room. But
Sorry,
anyway, you
man.
guys were, and I thought I could like be really silly and interrupt you guys to say goodbye.
Uh-huh.
But you guys were definitely
Yeah.
like, I got the vibe of the room, and I was like, "Oh, I'm intruding." Definitely.
yeah.
Okay. Bye. So bye. It was nice seeing you in Chicago.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah. Well, and I felt really bad too because like I saw you out of the corner of my eye, but I didn't realize the gravity of what was
Yeah.
going on. And then you texted me later. I'm like, oh shit, because like I haven't seen or chatted with you since, and that was fucking
Mhm.
October times.
Yeah. I guess I just thought 4 guys in a side space of a hotel was free game to.
Why would
to
you
walk
think
in.
that?
Yeah, what with the
We're all
microphones
friends
and
here.
cameras and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah, it's.
Uh,
I mean, we're basically making a porno. So, which,
But while we're talking about cons, any discourse you'd like to put out there about Cybfest Northwest?
yes. So Cybfest Northwest is the unofficial Transformers convention in the Pacific Northwest by the fans for the fans. We are returning for our gasp 10th year.
Wow.
And I say R as in the royal hour because I am part of the organization team after a handful of years of helping support through promotion and podcasts and being a guest and all that. It was like, why aren't you part of the organization staff? I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. It's your convention. And then it's like, well, would you like to be? I'm like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in their Discord, and I'm just we have monthly meetings to kind of go over stuff, and it gives me a lot of Iacon Online vibes because like that was like a year worth of planning as well. So it's a shoe that fits me well. But we're really excited for this year's show because it's our 10th year. We're working on a bunch of cool stuff, none of which I can talk about. But it's going to be rad. Registration is open now for vendors, attendees, and artists. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest area, and if like you're a fan artist, or if you're a toy vendor, or somebody that wants to table, that registration is available and open now. And if you want to be an attendee, that registration is open now.
What are the dates of the con?
I'm glad that you asked. No, SideFest 2023 is July 8th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Kent Commons Community Center in lovely Kent, Washington, which is about 20 miles south of Seattle.
Nice.
Awesome. And then as far as the regular show goes, you've had some Transformers content with Earthspark, Amber the Fangirl, Patriot Prime. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean that's you nailed it. I've
Boom.
spent
Perfect.
I've spent basically half a month worth of content with Patriot Prime. He's a really good dude. YouTube reviewer, does a lot of reviews of upgrade kits and toy hack sticker sets, as well as recent toy reviews. But we got on really well. We did a live stream on my show back on Friday the 13th. So we did discuss a little bit of the Venn diagram of Friday the 13th fans and Transformers fans, which there's an increasing number of Transformers fans I know that are also Friday the 13th fans. One of them may be in this very room, which will actually kind of come up.
We need to do that show.
I know. And I feel so bad, Ryan. We when we were in Chicago, we had it kind of set up, and then like I got back to work and shit just hit the fan, and I had no time for that,
no worries.
So, but yeah, we'll have to do it at some time for sure. So, but anyway, so I'm talking to Patriot Prime. His name is Jason, and he was born on a Friday the 13th. Not that Friday the 13th, but a 13th that was on a Friday. So we talked about that. It was a terrific interview. And then a couple weeks later, we flipped the tables around, and I was a guest on his show. We did a live stream on his show that he calls the Sit Rep, where basically it's a interview style show where he asked me a handful of open-ended interview questions. He gives away some toy hack sticker sets. And that was a really fun experience because I can't think of a time where I was a guest on a live YouTube show with someone who has a significant audience. I mean, he's got like, I don't know, like 15,000 YouTube subscribers or some such like that. But like, so like the chat was hopping to the point where it was actually kind of distracting.
Right.
It's just like, you know, when you're watching like those Hasbro fan streams where it's just like a wall of chat. It was kind of like that. But it was cool to have the opportunity to bring the gospel of Mike Seibert Radio to a different audience. Yeah. I picked up a good handful of subscribers from that live stream. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. But yeah, he's a fun dude, and really kind of the thesis of the content that I did with him is kind of don't judge a book by its cover. You know, it's like I had some knucklehead on my Facebook when I was promoting it saying, Patriot Prime, was that some kind of robot Alex Jones or something? So we kind of talked about, you know, somebody who wears their fandom and their patriotism literally on their sleeve. He's got a giant tattoo of Optimus Prime waving an American flag. So we kind of talked about like some of the obstacles and challenges that putting that on Front Street has made for him, especially in times like these. But, you know, more or less it was friendship through talking about robots. And when friendship is magic and you're celebrating friendship and transforming robots, everything else just kind of disappears. So, but anyway, that was a cool one. And then we did, like you had said, Aaron, we covered the first season of Transformers Earthspark, which incidentally, season 2 starts on like March 2nd or something like that. So real soon. But we covered the first 10 episodes, and that was a huge gang. It was me and Michael Andrews of Two Mikes Too Furious. We also had a couple of my friends from the Icon Online days. We had La Lita and Chally and General Techno and our good buddy Joe Bot, who I've done shows with him and Michael Andrews before as well. So it was basically the Brady Bunch talking about how this show that's very much geared for children, once you start diving into it, is kind of for everybody. There's a little bit of something for everybody. The lore is surprisingly deep for a children's show, and it's surprisingly complex. It's really good all ages entertainment in that, like, the forward thrust is to appeal to children, but when you start peeling back the layers of some of the concepts and the character interactions and the situations, there's stuff there for fans. Let me just
what a great opportunity for a transition. Caleb every now and again likes to contribute a period.
What?
I'm sorry, what?
And today he's brought forth a fun little game that I think is along with some of the themes of the episode. Caleb, what do you got?
So I was inspired to do a trivia after watching Carnage in C-Minor. There was, which is probably one of the most irritating episodes I've ever watched.
Certainly infamous, maybe not irritating,
but there is an element of opera in it. So I thought, hey, I think I'm going to try to do a quiz about
Let's do a
opera.
game.
So I put one together, and
Do you have a name for this game?
You know what? Unfortunately, I did not come up with a name. I did not think to do that in my haste. So there is no name for this.
Opera is or opera ain't?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Is this opera? Question mark.
That's a good one. That's a real good
Is
one.
this music too? TOO? Question mark.
These are all good. All good. Take
These are
take
all
one
good.
of those and use it.
No, they aren't.
So get your pens and papers handy.
Oh, shit.
I do have a quiz here, simply called Opera Trivia.
Okay.
Sorry, but let's get going on it.
We call this segment trivia segment.
And we call this, because the as we will see, the characters in the show are kind of doing opera in a weird fucking way. So
I have more on that when we get to it.
So here we go. Opera is a form of theater in which, let me just preface this. For those of you that have not heard me do trivia before, I have a lot of exposition and then I ask questions.
Yep.
So
There's a
buckle
lot up top, and then the question comes.
buckle up, be ready.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Play at home. Opera is a form of theater in which music is a fundamental component and dramatic roles are taken by singers. Such a, quote, work, unquote, which is the literal translation of the Italian word opera. It's typically a collaboration between a composer and a librettist and incorporates a number of the performing arts, such as acting, scenery, costume, and sometimes dance or ballet. The performance is typically given in an opera house, accompanied by an orchestra or smaller musical ensemble, which since the early 19th century has been led by a conductor. Although musical theater is closely related to opera, the two are considered to be distinct from one another. A key part of the Western classical music tradition, get it? A key part?
There's going to be a
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
that in this episode.
Opera originated in Italy at the end of the 16th century and soon spread through the rest of Europe. Although Carnage in C-Minor evokes opera, actually, the vocal delivery that the singer uses is a style in which a singer is allowed to adopt the rhythms and cadence of ordinary speech and is defined as A, monotona, B, recitativo, or C, wheelissimo.
Can you read all that again?
All of it?
No.
From the
no,
top?
not all of it.
No.
Just the
Fuck's
question.
sake.
Although Carnage in C-Minor evokes opera, actually the vocal delivery that the singers use is a style in which a singer is allowed to adopt the rhythms and cadence of ordinary speech and is defined as A, monotona, B, recitativo, or C, wheelissimo.
Okay.
We're just going to do...
How many questions
50-50
are there?
chance.
There's 4.
Okay.
Only 4. And I think I'm going to start with Mike. Mike, A, B, or C, monotona, recitativo, or wheelissimo?
I'm gonna go with B.
B, recitativo, Ryan.
I went with A.
He went with monotone.
B.
B. The correct answer is, in fact, B, recitativo. Recitativo does not repeat lines as formally composed songs do. It resembles sung ordinary speech more than a formal musical composition. I can't decide.
Bone, 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 bone. Tell me what you're gonna do when there ain't nowhere to hide.
Interesting. I wonder.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't wonder.
I can't decide if not having Wheelie in this episode was a missed opportunity for making me jump out a window. Am I right?
Hey-o!
Caleb wrote that joke down.
And I just liked it. They just read it in monotona.
Yes. I could talk and quiz at length about opera history here, and almost presented a quiz about castrato, which
Jesus.
which is a type of classical male singing voice equivalent to that of a soprano, mezzo-soprano, or contralto, produced by castration of the singer before puberty. But it turned out to be a real buzzkill. So I went in a different direction and turned my focus to what is almost certainly the introduction that most of our listeners had to opera, and that, of course, was the viewing of the opera-themed Warner Brothers Merry Melodies cartoon shorts starring Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. In just under 10 years, animation director Chuck Jones, who is worth researching, dedicated 3 animated shorts to his love of opera: The Long-Haired Hare, The Rabbit of Seville, and What's Opera Doc. These also turned out to be 3 of his best-known cartoons, 2 of which were deemed by the Library of Congress to be culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant and selected for introduction into the National Film Registry. The first in this trilogy, 1949's The Long-Haired Hare, features music from Rossini's The Barber of Seville and Donizetti's Lucia di Lammermoor, to name a few. The plot revolves around Bugs seeking revenge through a series of on-stage pranks towards an opera singer who was distracted by Bugs playing folk music on a banjo, to which the singer smashes the banjo and physically abuses the rabbit. What is the character name of that opera singer? Is it A, Leonardo Larry, B, Mussolini Max, or C, Giovanni Jones?
What year?
1949. Anybody need me to repeat anything?
I don't feel like it even matters.
So, Mike, what did you guess?
I went with C.
C, Giovanni Jones. Ryan.
B.
B, Mussolini Max. Aaron.
B.
B, Mussolini Max. The correct answer is, in fact, C, Giovanni Jones.
Yeah.
The cartoon... Oh, go ahead,
Sounds
Mike.
like a made-up name.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Well, they
and-
did
and-
make it up.
I mean,
Well,
it is...
All
it is
right.
fiction.
All names are made up, but it sounds like a whatever. Continue.
The cartoon establishes a struggle between classical music and popular music. Giovanni acts as if he is protecting the world of good music from the ignorant masses which Bugs represents. The second in the trilogy, 1950's Rabbit of Seville, is a short paced predominantly around, again, the overture of Rossini's The Barber of Seville. In this plot line, Bugs Bunny is chased by Elmer Fudd into the stage door of the Hollywood Bowl, whereupon Bugs tricks Elmer into going on stage and participating in a breakneck operatic production of their chase, punctuated with gags and accompanied by the musical arrangements. One particular gag features Bugs dressed as a Spanish temptress singing, "What would you want with a wabbit? Can't you see that I'm much sweeter? I'm your little senorita." This is not the first, and certainly not the last time we encounter Bugs Bunny in drag. According to Karen Ann Taylor's website, Bugs Bunny in Drag, how many times has Bugs Bunny appeared in ladies' garb or cross-dressed? Is it A, at least 10, B, at least 40, or C, at least 80?
Shit.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it conservative and go with A.
A, at least 10. Ryan?
B.
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 B. The correct answer is B, at least 40 times.
God
and,
damn.
and as Mike has pointed out, I rewatched these last night after writing this, and I knew that Bugs Bunny was in drag in 2 of them. I did not realize he was in drag in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen The Rabbit of Seville, see it. The cartoon is impressively and intensely synchronized, whereby every bit of slapstick action, mini movement by mini movement, links to the accompanying Rossini score. In Seville, Chuck Jones was really hearkening back to an older Warner Brothers legacy. Director Fritz Freeling's Rhapsody in Rivets and Pigs in a Polka from the early 40s. Perhaps the two most insistently, quote, Mickey Moused, unquote, perfectly synced musical cartoons ever made. The third in the trilogy is 1957's What's Opera Doc. It has been widely praised by many in the animation industry as the greatest animated cartoon that Warner Brothers ever released. The story features Elmer chasing bugs through a parody of 19th century classical composer Richard Wagner's operas. It required about 6 times as much work and expense as any of the other 6-minute cartoon shorts that Chuck Jones' production unit was turning out at the time. During the 6 minutes of What's Opera Doc, Jones lampoons the contemporary style of ballet, Wagner's perceived ponderous operatic style, the by then cliched bugs in Elmer's formula, and also lampooned what animated film? Is it A, Disney's Fantasia, B, Disney's Sleeping Beauty, or C, Hollis and Bachelor's Animal Farm?
What year?
This came out in 1957.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Yes, I was smart enough to pick cartoons that came out before or around 1957. I wasn't going to say like Aristocats or Little Mermaid or something like that. Is it A, Disney's Fantasia, B, Disney's Sleeping Beauty, or C, Hollis and Bachelor's animated version of Animal Farm? Mike?
Wow. Oh man, this is a hard one. I'm going to go with A.
A, Ryan.
Same. A.
B.
The correct answer is
That's right.
obviously A's, Disney's Fantasia.
Okay,
Makes
all right.
no sense.
It was one of those things where it's like it was almost like so obvious to where it's
Yeah,
like, no, this
same,
is a
yeah.
swerve.
I will say that Sleeping Beauty.
fucking red herring.
I will say that Disney's Sleeping Beauty does lean heavy into this same aesthetic style. Unlike the Rabbit of Seville's straightforward backgrounds, What's Opera Doc relies stylistically on a more removed, high-concept graphic sense and the shock effect of expressionistic set design. Various operatic performers and stage crews have cited how watching What's Opera Doc affected them personally as children, and in some cases contributed to the early development of their theatrical careers.
Interesting.
I believe, personally, that it is the high watermark of Merry Melodies and opera in general. And that was opera trivia. So let's go around. Out of 4 questions, Mike, how many did you get right?
I got 3 of 4.
3 of 4 right.
Damn. 2.
2
I
of
think
4.
that makes Mike the winner.
And you got Aaron?
2.
2 of 4. Mike, you are
Hell
the winner
yeah.
of 3 out of 4. Thank you for playing on our opera trivia. And I will say, if anybody hasn't seen those or hasn't seen them since they were a kid, go back and watch them. The Rabbit of Seville is fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny. It's a good one.
They're terrific.
Yeah, they're
A lot of Figaro action in that.
yeah, and
yeah.
and What's Opera Doc is actually like moving in a strange, like it's moving in a strange way. Yeah, it's really good.
I got 12 minutes. Let's watch them right now.
No,
Okay.
Ryan, what do we got?
Hey, y'all. We have a Buy Us a Drink cocktail here from Big Ken Wackelman. He bought us a drink, but in a new wrinkle for us. He said it was dealer's choice.
Oh, shit. Well,
So I picked... Why do you sound like that?
oh, no. It's, just thanks for buying us a drink.
Kind of like a,
Thanks for buying us whatever Ryan wanted.
So I picked a classic cocktail we haven't had on the show yet, and I hope he liked my choice. Today, this is a fucking hot mess of an episode, so I chose a hot mess of a cocktail, the Long Island iced tea.
Oh shit!
Is there more of that where this came from?
Nope.
Wow,
You all know this frat
brother
boy.
in Christ! I mean, we're already off to a good start.
Yeah.
how's
Is a very-
this gonna go down? The stretch?
Very, I don't think I've had this since I was in my 20s. It's a very frat boy drink. It's all your standard white liquors with a citrus mixer, basically. It strikes me as very 70s and 80s, so that's pretty much why I put it in here. I dialed back the booze amounts a little bit because,
They're heavy.
I mean, it's usually 3/4 of an ounce for everything.
I don't know why you did that, but I'm just saying. I mean, I drink.
Do you want to mumble some more? Or can I continue?
Please go on.
So we have a half ounce, 30 mils of vodka, half ounce white rum, half ounce silver tequila, half ounce gin, half ounce triple sec, 3/4 ounce or 45 mils of simple syrup, 3/4 ounce lemon juice, and cola. Shake all the ingredients but the soda with ice and pour into a Collins glass over fresh ice, top with cola, and slide your goddamn straw down in there to mix it. to look like an iced tea, garnished with a lemon wedge. What else is there to say about it? It's its own thing.
Okay, cheers.
Here we go.
Hey, I love it, Ryan. It's refreshing. Sorry, I'm stealing that from Caleb. I apologize. Caleb, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's refreshing.
It is like a drink that shouldn't work, but kind of does. But then again, all I taste is tequila.
Yeah.
I could see myself getting loaded by a pool
Yeah.
or at a Billy Joel concert. Yeah, play a piano, man. That's basically,
That's you as an old man.
that's me drinking a bunch of these.
Why the piano man?
I'm yelling at myself to play it.
Well, he's so old, he probably plays it 3 times in every concert anyway. So
Caleb has the distinction of being in. Well, actually, did you guys make the Guinness Book of World Records?
We did. I mean, I don't know if that happened or not.
Caleb is a
That's-
Guinness Book of World Record holder.
Thanks to your dad.
Possibly.
But I think actually maybe it got disqualified for some reason. I don't know. It was weird. That
what
was
are you
a long-
talking about?
Yeah, this is so inside. I don't know why we're talking about this
you
on
said Billy Joel.
It's music adjacent. It's
Yeah.
a music
So
adjacent.
thank you, Mike.
Aaron's biological father invited me to help participate in setting the world's record for the most people playing the piano man at the same time.
Okay.
And
so they did.
We did. And it was they like set out all these keyboards that were donated by some kind of music company, and we did it. And I don't know if it got in the books or not. That's been like 20 years.
What a great
20
story.
years ago.
That is a good story.
It's not, because he doesn't know.
It would be better if he knew, but
I did a thing.
It was
might have
funny.
occurred.
I remember
it
there
might
was
have
some-
mattered. I don't know.
There was some people there. There were some kids there that were like my age that were real snobby, that were taking it way more seriously than they should have. They were like had their sheet music, and they're like I tried talking to them. They're like, I've got to concentrate on playing the piano man right now, which is just like bonk, 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 bonk. It's like a polka. It's like you guys rehearsed for this?
So thank you, big kid, for
Yeah.
buying us a drink. If you'd like to buy us a drink, go to PayPal and pay us $5 hairs at APODcast on PayPal. Tell me what you want me to make, and I will make it on that on this show. Whatever, do it. I don't care.
speaking of
People
gifts,
like it.
Well, I like it.
I do too, because I like money. And I like
And
making fun
drink.
things. We have some more fun buy us a drink episodes coming up.
Speaking of the generosity of our patrons, we have 2 new patrons to add to the show.
Bullshit.
And so let me get to that. First of all, this is a quick one, and the reason why it's quick is because our new patron will henceforth be known as the unknown patron. They want no shout out. They prefer to remain anonymous. However, we have to credit them because they've proposed an interesting new money-making confidence scheme for us to consider.
Yeah.
A flim-flam, a double deal. This new grift is something that we are branding, if we decide to do it, Joe for Dough.
Joe for
Oh,
dough.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
For the tiny fee of TBD, we may review the G.I. Joe episode of your choosing.
I thought we determined the fee.
Well, in this circumstance, a fee was offered, and I'm assuming we would take it for
Yeah.
what was put out there. But
Okay.
but maybe we set our own fee going forward,
All right.
and then whatever that fee is what we should
So
insert
th-
into this dialogue.
this new patron is basically saying, here's money on the table. I will
Do
pay
a Joe episode.
I will pay you this much money per
They're willing to commit to 2 already.
Yep.
Joe episode.
Yep.
So for a fee, yes, we will do a G.I. Joe episode. It's called Dough for Joe.
Okay.
Or Joe for Dough. Which is it? Does it matter?
Yeah, Joe for Dough.
All right. Well,
Dough for Joe.
more to come on this Joe for Dough legislature. I will say that
let's litigate this now, because now I'm confused. So is it like just this dude is proposing a single episode commission thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
he said
Oh.
he said he'll pay us $2 an episode to do 2 Joe episodes.
But we've gone one step further and said,
Brother
hey,
in Christ.
if anybody, we've gone one step further. If anybody wants to pay us to do a G.I. Joe episode, we will gladly accept.
Or maybe any episode of anything.
Pay us to do anything for that matter. And we'll probably do it.
I'm looking forward to our next special, Blow for Dough.
I like money.
Yeah, but for this one, we're going to start a segment.
I can tell that Mike Seibert is disgusted.
He's not even looking at us in the camera. He's like looking out the window.
You guys are whores.
He's looking out
I am so comfortable with being a whore.
Yeah, he's looking out the window. He's imagining himself being
no eye contact
somewhere else right now.
I'm waiting for the monorail to come so I could just hurl myself in front.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what's up. We got a new.
Well, we haven't worked out the details, but I appreciate the suggestion. I think it is a good idea.
We're definitely gonna do
from
it.
Right. I'm just saying I'm not disclosing the fee that he put up
Sure.
because maybe we want to knock it up $25, make it really worth their while. Anyway, thank you to the unknown patron for the idea, and thank you for your patronage and joining the community. Next up, we have Argonus Prime, a.k.a. Garrett Powell. Our next new patron is a bit more forthcoming with their personal information as they go by the handle of Argonus Prime online. They are into Huskies and cars. In fact, he fixes them, paints them up, the cars, not the Huskies, and modifies them.
The car's not the Huskies.
Right.
Got it.
He is also into the radio-controlled variety of cars, of which he has several interesting varieties, including Bayverse Universe Optimus Prime and a Jurassic Park Jeep. He is a former 5-star reviewer on Apple Podcasts. He has love for TF Armada, as that was the series that snagged them in their childhood, and most of his collection is from that universe, along with some masterpieces and third-party things to round things out. You can find Garrett at GarrettPowell_85 on TikTok and at GKit85 on Instagram to see his car painting work, as well as he's become famous for a Knight Rider kit that I think he owns it, and maybe drives around town in it. He also mentioned and would like us to shout out a Mid-Ohio convention that he is a committee member for and would like us to mention it, and it is called Rathacon, R-A-T-H-A, Rathacon. This is a pop culture convention for people who love anything related to comics, games, TV, movies, and much more.
Cool.
So if you're in the Athens, Ohio area on April 1st, 2023, please see Garrett and his pals at Rathacon. $10 for adults, $7 for kids.
Alpha Magnus can...
I wonder how close that is. Yeah, Cleveland and Athens.
Well, I was gonna say, haven't these dudes like connected at another convention already? Weren't there pictures in the Discord?
Yes.
That might have been the two of them.
Yes.
You're right.
Was it both of them?
It's already happened.
Holy shit!
It has already happened.
I saw those pictures of him, and but I didn't associate it with this.
They are getting together faster than we can acknowledge it. It's fucking crazy.
God, my ego is swelling. We're responsible for... I wonder if anybody has gotten laid off of, like, knowing, like, being
taking
friends
now you're
and
taking
fans
this
of
in
the
a place
APDC. I'm just saying romance. Sometimes romance comes from interests in similar things.
Listeners, if you've ever fucked, pay us X amount of dollars called Fuck My Joe.
$69.
Yeah.
You can check out the details of the convention at therathacon.com. Again, that is the word the, Ratha is spelled R-A-T-H-A, con, you know how to do that, .com. And I'd be interested in the history of the naming for that.
Ratha?
Am I mispronouncing it?
R-A-T-H-A, I don't know, Ratha.
I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it.
Say it out loud. It's a
Rathacon.
It's a pop culture convention, right?
Mm-hmm. Rathacon.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Star Trek. Wrath of Khan.
Oh, I'm glad you were here to clear this up.
Took your dum-dum pills today. Fucking Christ.
Mike,
they put dum-dum juice in them sandwiches? I'll dial it back. It's fine.
No, it's okay. Thanks for
Continuing on, let's shout out our patrons, everybody. We've got Alpha Magnus, Debbie, Jeremy, Skeeter, Mr. Sadler, Mike Seibert, Bono, Michael Tremblett, Justin, Jonathan, Robinus Prime, Daniel V, the Sophubiest of Samurais, Chandler, J Soup, Matty V, Nick, Ken, DFB Greg Murray, Captain Alexis, Corey, James and Julia, Mr. Michael Ordway, Tim Dubs, Jason from Cracktastic Plastic, Thomas, Justin, Triclops, Alex, Simon, Squid King, New Daniel, Seven the Chronicler, the Unknown Patron, and Argonus Prime. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to join up, please peep the Patreon at patreon.com/APODDPass. Chopra. You know the drill. Booty box, Discord.
Yeah, all that stuff.
That's there.
Yeah. Someday our episodes are just us shilling one thing after another.
I am completely comfortable with that. Honestly, if someone wants to pay us to watch Jim, I would be so happy because.
But
that
you like
show,
Jim.
I absolutely do. It's so much better than Transformers.
Yeah.
And
if you want a dose of podcast, then your credit don't stink. Then reach inside your wallet now and buy us a drink.
that is what it sounds like when you've had a drink from Buy Us a Drink. Mike, you mentioned you listen to your podcast on like what, 1.5 speed?
1.2. No, 1.5 is way too fast for me.
Yeah.
But I found that 1.2 puts a little extra pep in the step.
Yeah.
And then like Caleb played the frenetic version of that.
Madness.
It must have sounded like cocaine. Like
Sounded like Carnage
ear
in C-minor.
cocaine.
Yeah, it was don't make me start a chant, cocaine bear, cocaine bear.
Are we talking about an episode today?
Last episode recap. Galvatron is a fucking lunatic, is all I had to say about that. Today, we're going to get all riled up for some Carnage in C minor, brought to us by Buzzard Dixon and the fine, fine people at ACOM.
Pretty sure that's not his name.
I have no memory of this episode as a child.
No, and I think
Really?
ACOM has achieved a whole new level of low in this.
This looks like hot garbage.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I thought it was almost like a fan had done a thing.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I'm sure we're going to explore during this conversation is that this is widely regarded as arguably the worst episode of the Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. I still have that opinion, and I will have various things to say. Folks have on my Twitter have been comparing it to BOT, saying
Saw
like
that.
that, saying that that episode is still worse. I don't know if I agree with that.
I will say this because I went through that. I followed that chat and I thought it was interesting how there were some people that were like, no, bot is worse, or there were some people that were like saying they liked Carnage, they liked the story of Carnage, but they thought the animation was awful. I will say that if I take Bot and Carnage, they're both awful in their own special ways.
And in different ways.
Yes, I would agree. I would certainly say that Carnage is. I would say that Bot is worse from certain aspects of how they treat people in it.
It's just also a stupid story.
Yeah, I will say that Carnage.
Oh, and this one's not.
Carnage is by far is definitely the most irritating episode that I've ever watched. It is fucking. It's so irritating. Like if I was a parent in the 80s and that was
Just
on
throw the
TV, I
TV
would
out the
say,
window.
turn that shit off and go outside. I can't take it anymore. Yeah, so that's my opinion.
That's why you put a TV in the kids' room. That's what my parents did.
Yeah,
and I never bothered anybody again.
you turned out just fine.
Yep. Don't. I turned into a shut-in.
I'm sitting next to 4 televisions right now.
It's not wrong.
I think there's more. I think you're missing the one behind the table.
That's a microwave.
No, there's a television behind that table.
That's true.
Oh, no, there's 5 televisions and a microwave and an old laptop. Yeah.
And of
Ryan,
course,
you're
a velvet painting of a saucy.
Yeah. Anyway, Ryan, yeah, you're right. Your parents made the right decision.
Yep.
So
So-
is this the time to get? I mean, I guess we can hit it off top, up top. I mean, I think I disagree with the
Tell us
general
now.
consensus.
You're deranged.
Tell us.
I think the story is unique.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the three characters that have to come together to solve the problems. I like that there's that these kind of these people are kind of the saviors of their planet, but yet there's tension between them or among them rather. And I do think. I mean,
okay.
don't get me wrong. There's a lot to hate about this episode, but I think that the core, like the guts of the episode,
all right, on paper
are solid.
On paper, yeah. I can't imagine it being executed any worse than it was.
I can't imagine. That's
No,
true.
I 1,000,000% agree with Caleb here, because basically, like, and that's what people have been telling me on Twitter. It's like, well, the concept is great.
Yeah.
Sure, that's fine, but it's the execution. It's
All
it's
the-
between it's all of it,
All
between
of
like
it.
the animation errors and the
The
vocal
sounds,
choice, all of it all together. So I agree with Caleb. And one of the things I wanted to bring to the table is, like, if you're reading this on the page,
yeah.
it's kind of fine.
Yeah.
I agree with Aaron that it's conceptually good. Like, this would make for a pretty good Star Trek episode, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Actually. Because like it is a really cool sci-fi concept.
Mhm.
But what makes this so bad and iconically bad is the execution of it. So I
So bad.
think that when I say on Twitter that Carnage in C-Minor is arguably one of the worst episodes, and somebody comes back saying, like, well, it's a great concept, that's kind of a false equivalency. It's
Mhm.
like, that doesn't make it a decent episode.
Well, I guess what
or
I'm
any
saying
less
is there's
arguably bad.
there's things like The Room that are bad in every sense that
At least it's enjoyable to watch, though. This is
okay,
not.
okay.
Well,
Well,
listen,
you're right.
let's-
I guess you're right.
Let's
in
just be
that
clear here that, like,
there's one aspect of The Room that's enjoyable,
That's-
watching everything fail. There's one aspect of this that's enjoyable, which is it's a generally
That's the
interesting
problem.
storyline.
Is something that's terrible, and then you watch it, and it's like it's arguably terrible. Everything is terrible, but it's fun to watch.
Oh, sure.
This is where it's like the idea is good, but watching it is abysmal.
like,
Like
I
there's
agree.
nothing enjoyable
So,
about watching it.
I do think that that's we all here understand that why we say arguably versus definitively.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's all subjective.
But Ryan, you make a good point. Like, I can't. Like, I like watching bad Transformers episodes. You guys have heard
Mhm.
that. I revel in them. Steel City, other fucked up episodes. I don't think I could sit through this one again.
I was going to
and
say, I
laugh.
feel like this is along that line of The Room, like so bad it's fun to
I-
watch.
I don't
know, I
agree
get
at
how
all.
the like sensorially the audio is really tough to deal
The
with.
audio's
but I
tough.
forgot that was what was happening, and when it first
Yeah.
came on, I just had this moment of, oh no, and I was
Yeah.
laughing out loud at that
See,
happening.
I love so bad it's good stuff, and this is not that for me.
I'm curious, like, how did this get made? What happened? I've never, even with ACOM, I've never seen animation quite like
It's
this.
pretty crazy.
What happened?
It's remarkable.
What
Yeah.
happened? So that I think that was while I was watching, I was just like, I was laughing, but I was like, what?
Why would you do it like that?
What happened?
Yeah.
That this is so like that explosion scene. It was like,
Well, we'll
Yeah.
get to it. We're getting
Yeah,
ahead
we'll
of
get
it.
to it.
Even
All right,
the-
so
like,
I'm
also
curious.
just trying to imagine from like a Buzz Dixon, or not Buzz Dixon, Wally Burr, was he still around at this time?
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
how do we, and maybe he wasn't responsible for the the production of the vocal quality, but just I'm just picturing an engineer saying, can we make that sing-songy part more annoying?
Oh,
And then
God,
like
yeah.
dialing the annoying lever up to 11.
yeah, we're all hitting all this up front. but
Yeah,
I will
well,
say
yeah.
that one thing that's
That
really,
means we'll get through it faster in the end.
one thing that's really annoying to
No,
me
we won't.
is like,
I have extensive
oh
notes.
God,
I'm
Mike has
overclocked with
pages.
too much to
all
say.
right.
Come back to me at the end of this, because I have a theory about where this story would have shown up otherwise that kind of recontextualize how I feel about it. It was something
Okay.
I landed on driving in today. It's yeah, I don't know, because like there's certain things going on, but I don't want to get into it now.
Okay.
We'll come back to it.
Or then let's
But-
pan across deep space. Why don't we?
Sure, why
Let's
not?
actually start the episode.
Yeah.
Stare into the abyss.
We stop and focus on a strange green glowing space object. It feels like a glowing rock, but it's also kind of covered in vines.
It's a booger.
Well, yeah,
Ugh.
It's a booger planet.
A space
Speaking of
boogie.
like garbage pail kids.
not a bad illustration.
Not a
here.
bad background yet. Yeah, not
Okay,
yet.
cool.
We'll learn that this is a comet, actually, eventually. But we head to the surface of this thing, and Decepticons are working on some sort of arts and craft project. It's I don't know. It's big engines, I guess, and
Yeah.
Galvatron demands that these engines be fired.
I swear to God, whenever Galvatron says, "We will test the engine as it shoves," I swear I thought he was going to say, "Up your ass."
Immediately,
But apparently the engine is designed to shove this comet and destroy Metroplex? Which
He's
who does
obsessed with
not-
Metroplex this
Who does
episode.
not appear in this episode?
I think he does.
Yeah, he
they
does.
Make
What
their
are you
way,
talking
they make
about?
their way there.
yeah, you just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard to recognize him because he's drawn so badly.
And in the middle of the desert for
Yeah.
no apparent reason.
It's
but
bizarre. The
so
animation is fucked. Okay, go ahead.
it is so bad. So couple things for what we're going through. How many Constructicons are there?
Yeah.
It's 75.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't necessarily mean to call out every single animation
I
error.
know.
But this is an
there's a
egregious
lot
one.
there's a lot of them I do want to call out because a lot of them are really fun.
Especially the
in the-
canonically weird ones.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But right up top, you get that thing with Galvatron wanting more tests, and Soundwave, being the sensible guy that he is, being the good dad, says, "Hey, man, we need more tests."
Mhm.
And that's the reason why I said, like 3 years ago, when you guys said that you were going to transition from the movie and do the individual episodes. I think even before I called Heavy Metal War or Autobop, I was like, I want Carnage in C-Minor
Mhm.
to be on that episode, because this is the Soundwave heavy episode. It's it
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
it is a bizarre Soundwave spotlight episode,
Mhm.
and it's got everything for me. I mean, it's got Soundwave, it's got Soundwave v Blaster round 2, you know,
Mhm.
their rematch from Autobop, but also, because we're going to get to this really quick here with the animation errors. Did you know that Carnage in C-Minor is actually the most sexually charged episode in the series? Everyone is in love in this episode, which is kind of perfect for Valentine's Day, which this episode kind of ends up being an
Oh.
accidentally Valentine's Day episode.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I have tons of stuff to uncork here. So strap in, kids.
Oh, I will be thinking about you guys when I'm home eating.
Oh yeah,
dinner.
because yeah,
Balls
you're,
deep.
yeah.
you're not going to live long enough to hear any of this stuff.
The whole Soundwave trying to calm Galvatron down and say that maybe we should test it first. That part, to me, that is kind of the beginning of they're giving Soundwave more personality in this episode than they've actually ever given him.
Yeah.
This is the most he's ever spoken, and probably the most he ever would speak. In fact, actually, after this, Soundwave kind of fades into the background. I think he shows up in Return of Optimus Prime, but outside of that, I mean, like this is kind of last stop for Soundwave in terms of having a significant role.
Would you call it a swan song? Caleb, do the laugh.
I hate it. I hate it.
Please stop doing that.
I fucking hate it.
So Galvatron says here something to the effect of like, we need to move this ball of ice. So what's the deal with this comet? Is it like it's a booger, it's a planet, it's a comet, it's
It's green.
ice?
It's not green.
well,
A
comets
comet is
are
ice.
Are mostly ice.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Check your science
That's
facts,
what
Seibert.
that's what makes their that's what makes their tail. It's evaporation
It's
put on.
it's burning off from the sun.
This thing is actually this green booger is visible right now in the sky.
Yeah,
I love it.
go check it out.
Yeah.
There is only one thing in this actual episode that I have a science issue with. So once again, here we go. We see the Autobots are flying in space without
They could
a
fly.
ship.
They fly now. They
Yeah.
fly now. They
That's
fly
just
now.
canon.
fly now.
Despite the fact we have many space vehicles, like I don't know, fucking Broadside, who's with them.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah,
Is
we
he,
got we
though?
have I'll just call it out. We've got Magnus, Blaster, Perceptor, some aerial
Grimlock.
bots. All of Superior, or did I say Superion? All of Superion is there. Broadside, we'll comically see here shortly. They know that there's some fishy activity in this Orc cloud. Did we talk about Orc clouds on another episode?
Maybe.
What is an Orc cloud?
An Orc cloud is basically just the debris that's like out near Pluto. It's just the stuff that surrounds our solar system.
Is that presumably where we are then in the
No.
real universe?
Oh,
in this episode? Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments out there. in the
They're
Orc
gonna
cloud.
attack the green ball and stop. They don't know what the Decepticons are up to, but they're gonna stop whatever it is. So we've got laser fire. We've got dead Autobots that are all of a sudden alive. We have
Oh, wow, you're skipping so many
we have
things.
Decepticons firing on their own equipment. The robot scale is just a suggestion. We don't love dwelling on animation errors, but this is ridiculous. So I'll pause, I guess, at this moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's way too much
insane.
to cover. So one thing I wanted to come back to, so you see Grimlock with no faceplate. That's kind of
Mhm.
whatever. But the thing that I don't understand is there like a deleted scene before the Autobots show up, because Perceptor is like frantically petulantly telling Matt, see there's Decepticons
Yeah.
over there, like I told you. Like, I mean, is there some kind of like extra dialogue where Magnus like, I don't believe you hoity-toity fucko?
Oh, I wish we would have seen that. That's what this episode needed, was more scenes.
well,
I think we're just as the viewer to believe at this point that Perceptor's always freaking out about something and nobody takes him seriously. I guess.
the other thing too, it's like, so this episode is rotten with animation errors. We're going to talk about the sing-songy thing of the Arrhythmians and all of that. But Wally Burr must have been asleep at the switch, because not only do you have all of that, but you also have like some like weird vocal miscues. Like Perceptor is saying something like, talking about like the cloud, and he has like some extra like phlegminess, or he's like all cloud or some shit like that. So like I watched it with the captions on it. It said old cloud. But we're talking like Orc cloud. Is
Orc
that what's
cloud.
going on?
Or
Orc
cloud.
cloud.
Okay. Very good. Asked and answered. Anyway,
Do you guys want to talk about Devastator being shorter
Smaller than
than
Soundwave?
Soundwave? He is,
I think
apparently.
I think Soundwave's just very closer to us.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
foreshortening.
Oh, I guess I don't
Yeah.
understand art.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
My apologies. And then, of
then-
course, there's the scene where you have Devastator, and he gets put down by a giant broadside in aircraft carrier mode. Just
Yeah.
lands on his head.
This is where I was like, oh, we see Devastator again. I bet he's going to see something cool. Oh, no, he just gets flattened by Broadside in aircraft carrier mode, which is stupid because, again, this is my science. This is Science Corner. This is Pedantic Orion Science Corner, where that comet does not have enough gravity for that to even matter. Like, there's
Right.
he would just lightly tap him.
So aside from the Looney Tunes nature of an aircraft carrier
Yeah.
the size of a whale dropping on 6 pieces of construction equipment,
And
it also, the gravity just doesn't work, which means he would have turned into aircraft carrier mode and then I guess flown
Just floated
vertically into them. Like he would have had to have some upside down thrusters. I'm looking into it too deeply.
and then we have the worst fucking character model of Broadside I've ever did see.
Yeah, it's wretched. And this is basically like a broadside spotlight episode too. So I found on the TF wiki that basically broadside has 3 different
Right.
character
I've read
models. One
that.
so it's like, so this particular model in this episode is known as the pre-final model. And so yeah, so that's where he's got like, the long red face and all the I guess all of his back kibble is just
Aircraft carrier parts.
aircraft carrier parts, because that gets really nutty later on. You know what? Maybe I watched this episode too many times, but I
you
think
watched it. If you watched it once, you watched it too many times.
that's true. That's true. And I'm such a fucking masochist. I actually watched it twice. Once on Tubi, and then the other time on Hasbro Pulse, just to get the captions on it. Just to get the dialogue and whatever, and take a bunch of screenshots. I have like a whole goddamn Twitter thread where I was like up in the middle of the night taking screen grabs of this dumb episode as I was watching it. So that's where some of this overclocked extra information comes from. But think about this. So like, you don't see Broadside in that first lineup with the other Autobot characters. You see Grimlock, you see Superion, you don't see Broadside. So the implication in my mind, my fan theory, is that the Autobots were in Broadside and then they exited, and then
to go
Broadside
attack this.
Exactly. Either that or it's a space battleship Yamato situation.
You're being very charitable.
It is possible, because the script is not available online. It is possible that, like you said, Mike, is a deleted scene where maybe they are in Broadside and Perceptor is like, I'm detecting blah, 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 blah.
And everybody's like, you're crazy, Perceptor.
Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying any of this in defense. I'm just putting out theories for my own amusement.
Yeah.
Sure. For real.
Also, high five.
Yeah,
I know.
this is
I
so
paused
fucked
it
up.
at Ultra Magnus and Broadside hailing each other from across the way.
Ultra Magnus and Broadside raise their hands like, I don't know, a COVID-safe high five, like it's Demolition Man.
I was going with Heil Hitler, but
because that's where your mind always goes. It's not.
Well, I was going to say it in a more delicate fashion. I'm glad they raised their hands all the way up.
right. Galvatron at this point goes in cannon mode and fires on his own equipment.
Yeah.
So we did mention that, like Brawn is back from the dead.
Brawn is back from the dead. Huffer is back, but he's miscolored.
And then the Constructicon is fighting with the Autobots.
Right, yeah.
This is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is so
Magnus
I'm telling you, dude, this is the most sexually charged episode. Look at it. He's just
we see
he's
Ultra
riding
Magnus,
riding the cannon.
Ultra Magnus grappling with Galvatron in cannon mode. Like he's got his legs wrapped around the cannon. And he's groaning. It's how did you animate this and not think that?
I haven't seen animation technique like that in this show yet, where they just kind of move the cell like this and then
just jitter it
around. Yeah, very strange.
There's a lot
we
of
need
this,
to capture
with
this and like
GIF it.
Yeah, like we need to do this. Put some
comes.
Barry White under it.
It is interesting for as awful as the animation is and how weird the character models are, how bizarre the detailing on Ultra Magnus is. Like you could see like the back of his head, you could see like the tires under his shoes. It's more detailed than even in a lot of Toei episodes.
Almost like, again, they're focusing on the wrong things.
Yes.
I would prefer to like it. I don't know for sure, but it feels like ACOM was like, we got to make these look like the toys.
Yeah, and that's going to come up later with like one of the more significant animation errors, one of the more iconic ones. But I think a lot of some of the scale stuff comes from toy accuracy, or at least pretending to try to do toy accuracy, because it's almost how the toys scale with each other. Actually, you know what? I would argue that G1 Devastator is only just a little bit taller than G1 Soundwave. Like when they're standing next to each other like that, it's a stretch, but Soundwave's a big dude, and Devastator is actually kind of small.
I still don't like it. They should know what playbook they're playing from.
I didn't say like it. Again,
Yeah,
It's
you're
like,
trying to
well, hey,
rationalize it.
We gotta
I'm with
move
ya.
on from.
Okay, sorry, we're moving on.
two.
Okay, Brian, we're moving on. Galvatron destroys the machine through his wrestling match with Ultra Magnus. They're also uncomfortably close. I guess he transferred back into robot mode real quick, and Galvatron just like
I don't know,
he looks like he's about to
he's
give him a
spooning
sweet
him.
whisper.
Yeah.
he's giving him a reach around.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
I mean, it is not ambiguous to me at all.
This
Again,
is the horniest episode I've ever seen.
I didn't even
Told you.
realize how horny it was. You pervs.
and that's just the beginning, my friends. Just you wait.
Mike, I had no idea.
There's an explosion. It's huge, and it's so big. It created cause for the Autobots to evacuate the comet.
Oh my god.
The comet is flying through space towards a small
Uh-oh.
inhabited planet we discover, and the Autobots are going to try and fire lasers at the comet in an attempt
Why
to divert it.
do they all look in this frame like they have a Victorian wasting disease?
It's weird.
Like they all look so skinny and weird.
The perspectives everything's strange. The perspective, the proportions are all bizarre. Not to mention that the frame rate seems weird.
Yeah.
Like it just
Everything's just
Poor.
so ugly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if the animation if this was an animation error, but you see the the comet through Perceptor's scope before he even goes into microscope mode.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
Everything's cheap. Like I don't know
Yes.
if they had a severe time crunch or what, but everything's just cheap and slapped together.
So they're firing that what they're doing is doing nothing in terms of slowing down
I
the
don't
comet.
know why they'd think that would work.
And but the Decepticons then show up and engage the Autobots. There's more magnetron wrestling in space here, but all of a sudden, a terrible, shrill, but perhaps beautiful noise is heard emanating through the vacuum of space all around them. The sound waves, not
Yes.
to be confused with Soundwave.
And not
they
to be confused with Soundwave with no mouth,
they
who is flying with the Constructicons there.
yes.
they destroy the comet and also just jumble the Transformers equilibrium generally, and all of the robots fall to this mysterious planet.
How does a sound weapon work in space? I don't know. Because that's not possible.
You also
No,
No,
it's not that I don't think. It's literally impossible for
Soundwaves
sounds.
still go into space.
No,
No, they
don't.
do not.
Yeah, you there's no sound can only work if there's air.
Yeah.
The space is a vacuum.
But how is it then that maybe I'm confusing sound waves with
Radio waves are
broadcasting
different.
waves?
Radio
Okay,
waves are
all right,
light.
all right. Well, they are through an amplifier.
That doesn't matter. What do you mean?
There's no sound in space.
But if they're amplifying it, are they not amplifying it through radio waves?
Radio waves are light, but
So
you
you
can't
can
have
pick up the-
sound in space.
radio waves can travel through space.
But
'Cause
you
it's
can't, it's
light.
not like you can hear the sound that the radio waves are.
No.
Unless you have a
based on.
receiver in space.
And then you
You
receive
have to
it.
translate it.
within an environment that has air.
Yes,
I can't believe
right.
we're talking about this right now.
could you say then that the Eurythmians' weapon is a broadcast weapon? Not unlike the BET, actually completely unlike the BET. But no, it's like, so what we hear is just a auditory representation for the audience, and like,
maybe the Transformers can hear it because they have receptors.
Hear
I
it.
see what you're saying there. Like they're receiving it as a radio signal instead of an
So you're saying they hear it they're receiving it. They're receiving it forcibly, and that fucks them up.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess.
Now, I don't know how that, to your
we're-
earlier point, I don't know how that destroys the comet.
We should not try.
Yes,
This is
you're
interesting.
right.
to
I'm
understand
sorry
this,
I even
but
brought it up.
But Ryan, you're right. If they're singing, their sound waves cannot destroy anything outside of the
Exactly.
atmosphere.
Right,
Unless
right.
their atmosphere is super dense and super large.
And so, but that being said, it is a common thing for most sci-fi to just forget about two things in space:
Mhm.
the vacuum of space and the lack of gravity.
Yes.
Both
Sure.
of those things have to kind of exist for everybody to kind of get on board with what's going on.
Yes,
You take that away, it's really hard to make a production, actually.
it's true.
So let's just go with it.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
But
It's
speaking
the
of,
least of our worries.
It's true. It's true.
to close off the whole Soundwaves in space thing, he's right there. Soundwave's there
Oh.
with the constructor.
Okay.
No.
Boo!
But yeah, no, that wasn't worth it. But
Big thumbs down.
I could not skip the second tussle between
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Ultra Magnus and
Wrestles with that
Galvatron.
gun again.
Yep.
So it's like Galvatron says, like, make them suffer, and then proceeds to get all hanky panky.
They get all
Yep.
they get all handsy.
They're
in this.
real handsy, real handsy.
Yeah, he handles that gun a lot.
He wants it.
He does.
He wants it bad.
Why wouldn't you?
So at this point, we meet the inhabitants of the planet, which is called Eurythmia, which is a pretty cool name.
It's a good name.
We've got old Basso Profundo.
I want his outfit. Honestly,
I'm not surprised.
Did okay? So sorry to derail your introduction of what we're getting ready to go into, but like, it made me think of, remember when I dressed as a king for your college advertisement?
the real world video?
No. I dressed as a king for the the Springfield Little
Yeah,
Theater.
It was
your
advertising class project.
Yeah, advertising class. I dressed as a king for this video that we made. It was me out on the street, dressed as a king, talking about the Springfield Little Theater, and then people were coming by that didn't know we were doing a video, and I was like, and it shows plays for the kids, and some woman who was a civilian walked by and was like, wow.
Yeah, that was a very Tom Green influenced
was.
thing where it was just like, Ryan, you're gonna dress up like crazy and harass strangers on the street.
Mhm.
That's the concept, and that's what we did.
That's what we did.
I felt like it turned out to be a good video.
It was. I wish we still had it.
It was the tagline was Broadway.
Your-
Our way
Oh,
or
our
something.
way? Yeah.
We were trying to make Springfield Little Theater. Like, the idea was like rebrand them as like a cool, edgy theater experience.
I love it.
Anyway,
It's Ching Ching Extreme,
right.
or something like that. So real quick before Aaron, before you get into the introductions of squishies here on the planet, I want to go back to that trilling sound that we hear. And, Ryan, you had said that you had no memory of watching this episode as a kid. I had like the faintest of a sliver of a memory of this episode when I saw it. And it's that specific sound, that trilling that ultimately explodes the comet, but it stuck with me because it reminds me of the tones that are sent from the whale probe in Star Trek IV Voyage Home. It's very, very similar. And it's a lot of that a lot of that stuff. But of note, and I actually researched this to double check because I was like, well, maybe I'm just conflating that with my memory of Star Trek IV. This episode aired on October 14th, 1980.
yeah.
Okay. Star Trek IV The Voyage Home didn't come out in theaters until November 26th, 1986. So this actually predates that movie by like a month and a week.
Interesting.
So you're saying
Crazy.
you ripped it off?
Well, I think that it was probably in post-production at that point.
They're like, quick.
Did you guys see that episode of Transformers? We got to use that.
Throw that
It was
in.
so good.
Nelson Shin's ACOM uses lots of reused
True.
sound effects,
Yeah.
including a bunch of Star Trek sounds.
It's
Does that door
completely
swing both ways?
possible that
Is
was,
it in the same sound effects library?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there you
completely
go.
possible that it's
There you
just
go.
a straight
Possibly.
rip from a sound library. Yep.
I'm going to reintroduce the inhabitants of the planet.
Yep.
Of
Please,
Eurythmia.
please.
we've
I
got
derailed us.
Basso Profundo.
Mhm.
We have albino Princess Zelda, aka Allegra, and
She's very pink.
the feather capped Zebop Scandana, which I
Also
kept
love his outfit.
wanting to refer to as Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Yep.
But yeah, you got these three kids, and one is an old man. But Allegra is extremely angry. As a group, they're stoked that the comet is destroyed, but Allegra is annoyed at Basso for some reason. We don't know why.
No reason.
And
Is presented.
and it is presented later, right? She's angry and she's going to leave the city. Basso doesn't want her to leave, but she's going to leave anyway. But they all sing or speak in sing-songy auto-tune harmonic tones.
Yep.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, what I really, really got on my nerves is that you would hear them. You could clearly hear what they were saying in that
Yep.
recitativos thing, but then they keep turning to Soundwave
Or Blaster.
to explain what they
It's
said.
so fucking annoying. Yeah. So what we're saying is like, yes, the characters of this planet speak in a sing-song way, which we should probably capture at some point.
Yeah, I was actually getting us set up to do that, but I think the best time to do that is one of those explain scenes, actually, because
Yeah, for sure. Because it happens on both sides a couple times.
Yeah, but it makes no sense because I mean they're speaking whatever galactic standard or English or whatever you want to say. So Soundwave and Blast are going to understand them, and they keep translating to their leaders what they're saying, and it happens so often, it's fucking annoying.
yeah,
Like,
we'll get to that. Put a pin in it.
okay.
The Autobots and Decepticons are recovering on the surface of the planet. Soundwave is enamored with what
buddy.
he's just experienced.
He's
The most
horny.
perfect harmony he's ever heard. Galvatron is more interested in the sound's destructive capabilities. And like I was alluding to earlier, other than maybe when he nominated himself for Decepticon leader on Astro Train in the movie, have we ever seen Soundwave get this
Excited?
emotional?
Yeah.
No. And I think that's not only is it intentional, but I think it's kind of rad because we've spent so much time with Soundwave, we know what he's about. And to see this turn from him being stoic and understated and being a man of few words, to see this shift, I think it is specifically intentional. And it's kind of unsettling also because you know, when Soundwave is just being straight up horny on main, it is a little bit unsettling.
It's creepy.
Yeah. And I think maybe it's supposed to be that way. I don't hate it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you, Mike.
And I think it has a similar effect on Blaster, but not as deeply. But it is neat to see a character like Soundwave to be so outwardly emotional. He's just got it out there, just openly whacking it in the open. He doesn't even care who's watching. Just openly.
We're probably giving too much to this episode, but like what you said made me think of like Blaster appreciates it in the same way, but he has like a social network to be like a quote unquote normal person, whereas Soundwave is like he's never experienced this kind of thing before, and that it has like opened up a whole new world to him.
Yeah, and he kind of doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Which is neat. I mean, again, this episode is awful, but it's a couple things. One, I wish that there would have been a moment between Soundwave and Blaster, like some kind of like mutual acknowledgement of like, I agree. It's like, you getting this? Yeah, man, I'm getting it. You know, it's like when you go to a concert and you connect with a stranger, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, oh man, that's fucking rad. You know, that kind of thing. I was going to say something else.
I want to say something about Galvatron's forearms paused at the 4-minute mark here. This, again, the animation's not good, but even these individual illustrative frames are just so bad.
I do like Galvatron's lavender diaper also, which incidentally, somebody on Twitter pointed out that is the original pre-final coloration for Galvatron. So technically this model is as correct as Broadside's character model is. So it's
correct in a way you can't even understand.
Yes. It's dumb enough to be smart. No, it's just plain dumb. It's but yeah, no, the lavender diaper, the space diaper on Galvatron is throughout this entire episode. It's not a coloring error.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but it's
Yeah.
a consistent coloring error, I guess.
That's sort of correct in a way. Well,
Yeah.
the bots do what they do, which is to get back into scuffles. Broadside picks up and smashes Galvatron. Perceptor has the ability to blast Devastator into pieces all of a sudden. Magnus bonks two tiny
So officially,
Constructicons
Devastator is
together.
not a threat at all to any.
At all.
Various Autobots and Protectobots rise from the trenches and fire upon their foes. It is at this point that Galvatron and Soundwave realize we got to get our hands on that sonic weapon and use it against the Autobots. Magnus has the exact same idea. They've got to find that weapon and help the Eurythmians battle the Decepticons. And here's where we have a fun sequence of Broadside going into jet mode and Magnus and Blaster hilariously grabbing onto the back of the wings and riding him into the skies as Perceptor and Hotspot defend the front lines.
Right before that, we do get to see Ultra Magnus completing his Constructicon masterpiece set.
I love it.
Those are like MP plus sized.
But yeah,
Legend-
it's so
legend
dumb. It's so dumb where they grab onto Broadside's wings and fly around, and then later it's just so dumb.
Don't get ahead of
I
it.
hate it.
The other thing too, it's like this is as much of a Broadside spotlight episode
As you're ever going to get.
as you're ever going to get. It's odd though. The last time we saw Broadside was in Thief in the Night. Ironically enough, the last episode I was on with you guys, but his characterization is like totally different. He's vain and he's prickly. It's like he's like discount Sunstreaker here, and I don't. One of the things that we pointed out when we talked about Thief in the Night is that the Autobot Navy consists of Broadside and Sea Spray, and that's it, because they're the only characters that are boats. But when Broadside spoke in that episode, it was all in nautical terms. You know, it was like, you know, port and starboard and very, very nautical sounding. All of that is gone here. Now it's just, he's kind of like a vain brute. Like he picks up Galvatron. He's like, give me your lunch money, type of thing. I do like though that sequence where, I mean, again, I'm here for Soundwave. That Soundwave throws some serious wood on Broadside. Also gives him a nice shoulder check here.
Again, scale being whatever it is. One thing I wanted to point out about this scene, as the Autobots leave, Hotspot is in this scene, and he says something along the lines of, hurry back, we're outnumbered 2-1. And his math not so good, because there are easily twice as many Autobots as there are Decepticons.
And don't worry, the Autobots come and go. Like, you're never going to get ahead of where they are and who's here.
I do appreciate though that the graphics in season 3 are just as good as they were in the movie. Like, remember, like on the Siege of Autobot City, you see Perceptor and it has his microscope telescope mode where there's all these cool graphics and it's all like all these cool lighting effects and stuff. This simple grid pattern when he decides to shoot Devastator, that's just as good, right?
They're balling on a budget.
Also, I was told that Soundwave and Galvatron were going to hold hands as they flied away. I didn't see it.
Was that a Ryan call?
No, that's a joke. It happens later.
Okay.
So like right before this scene of Galvatron, Soundwave and Galvatron are flying away, but they're not holding hands. They hold hands later.
Okay, wait for it, everybody. Galvatron and Soundwave, everybody's flying to go and figure out the secret of the weapon, and Galvatron and Soundwave note that the Autobots are going to beat them, because you'll recall the Autobots are holding on to Broadside's wings as they fly off, and so they're going to have to resort to the tactic of sneaking up and stalking the Autobots. The Autobots meet, or you've got Blaster, Magnus, and Broadside. They're flying over the Eurythmian landscape here. It's a cityscape, rather. Blaster marvels at how the entire city is built upon musically harmonious principles. These harmonies are guiding the Autobots to the planet's leadership. But Blaster has the feeling that the negotiation is not going to be easy. We see at this point the Autobots meet with But first of all, his name is Basso Profundo. It really should have been Basso.
No,
but,
basso is a term.
all right, maybe it should have been Basso then. Maybe they were right and I'm wrong. He's the leader. Well, I thought he was the leader. I can't tell if he's the leader or not of Eurythmia.
That's the
He's just an old
implication, I
man.
think. I think it's-
And maybe we
it
make
is
that
just
assumption
because
he's
he's a big
an old
fat
man.
guy.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not about to get involved in this Autobot Decepticon war thing. And if the Decepticons pose a threat, why, well, their harmonic weapon will keep them safe. Magnus low-key threatens to take his denying of a potential alliance public, saying, like, I don't know how the public's going to feel about this, but Basso is like, if my people don't like it, they can leave, like Allegra did. He's clearly hung up on that whole situation. And
Like that bitch Carol Baskin.
It is a non sequitur, though. Like, you're meeting with these strangers, and then you just bring up this Allegra person out of the blue. Soundwave and Galvatron are spying harder than Leslie Nielsen. Allegra
Wow.
appears by their spying abilities to hold the secret of the planet's harmonic weapon, and they've got to beat the Autobots to Allegra. But
So-
how?
Blaster talks about how their civilization is based on harmony and beauty many times. But every time he does it, we see shots of their world, and it looks like someone glued random garbage together. Like, if this architecture was based on music, I feel like it would sound like, I don't know, a tuba filled with vomit falling down the stairs. Like, it looks like shit.
I do like that it's Blaster's turn to be horny on main.
Yes.
Because it's like he's talking to Magnus. He's like, that was like a musical bliss, a harmonic kiss, and Ultra Magnus, the most asexual character in all of Transformers. He's like, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
I thought I would use this opportunity to record this interaction with Blaster and them.
So that's why you should help us fight the Decepticons.
This is your war, not ours.
Bad news, Mag. He doesn't want to help us. He says their harmonies can keep the Decepticons at bay.
Is he certain all of his people would feel that way?
Anyone who doesn't can leave, just like Allegra.
Basso here says anybody who disagrees with him can do the big hike. Like somebody named Allegra?
Then
So, my note on this is that Magnus can't understand the Eurythmian language, but he can understand Blaster's DJ
He can
jivey talk.
speaks jive, like from
And
Airplane.
So, yeah, exactly. So, like, Blaster's version of what is going on is like even more metaphorically goofy than what they
But
just
all-
heard.
It's like, excuse me, I speak jive.
Yeah.
Barbara Billingsley in the house.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, as we'll see, I mean, we haven't gotten getting ahead of it, but Galvatron seems to understand and then not understand what Allegra says.
Yes.
Right. It goes in
something
and
does.
out.
Now, I would say in a world where we have not seen that scene yet, this could be just an example of Ultra Magnus just being a dummy. Because he often doesn't understand what Perceptor is saying. He's very like cut to the quick.
Even though we
Give me
all understand it,
just-
right?
Yeah, it's like Trent. Magnus is the guy they'll say, give me the TLDR. And he's I don't know.
He needs to take action.
Exactly.
He's not a
And
man
it's
of
just like, give me
words.
the bare essentials. He's actually probably the most soldier-like in this episode than we've seen him for a while. It goes back to the movie. I'm just a soldier, Prime. I'm not worthy. But he's very take charge, no nonsense here.
Galvatron and Soundwave were spying on that, as I had said earlier. And, oh man, why did I do this?
No.
We have Broadster Magnus, as we will now refer to the Autobot trio of Blaster and Ultra Magnus and Broadside. They're on the hunt for Allegra, and before they can devise a plan to hunt her down, Soundwave and Galvatron attack, collapsing a eurythmic bridge on top of them, and that is where we go to commercial.
Hey, breaking news.
What?
Manscaped is now selling beard products. We have the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Go to manscaped.com, use our code APDC, get 20% off and free shipping. It's time to tame your mane. Nobody likes a weird beard. Say goodbye to all your stubble trouble. with Manscaped Pro Beard Kit.
I do not have a beard, but I liked everything that came with it. But in particular, I didn't have a really good set of like scissors to trim facial hair, my nose hair, or whatever. And this comes with a great beard brush, comb, and then these scissors that I really particularly enjoy.
Barber-esque.
I want to talk about my Manscaped experience.
Please.
First of all, I used the promo code APDC and got myself the package that included the lawnmower trimmer. I start my day off with a little bit of that crop preserver, and everything you guys said is true. I love the trimmer I got from Manscaped. It's got a great ergonomic feel. I love that it's got a light on it and that it's waterproof. So I'm definitely interested in checking out the beard hedger because I play guard roulette with my trimmer. Like, it's like, which one do I want? So having that control with the wheel sounds very appealing to me. And I might use the promo code APDC again to buy stuff from Manscaped. Cause I love their products. They're
great.
Really very cool.
So get 20% off and free shipping with the code APDC at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code APDC. Manscaped, beard hedger, one stroke, one guard, 20 lengths.
We are back from break. I don't know why I yelled.
Go.
Galvatron goes into
excited.
cannon mode, takes a shot at the bridge debris. So you'll recall that they've blown up a bridge. A bunch of rocks and shit are on top of the Autobots, and Galvatron and Soundwave are like, let's make sure they're dead. So he goes cannon mode, incinerates the area. It's just a pile of ash now, and that they find it satisfying. So it's time to go find Allegra. We have Bosso and his crew, including the feathered hat-wearing Zebop Scandana. They're expressing discord.
I also love how they keep using his full name, Zebop Scandana.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Zebop.
When I first heard it, I was like, it feels like I heard it in 2 or 3 different ways throughout the whole episode.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't even get they could not get the name right.
It sounds
Zebop
like,
Scoobobadop.
it sounds like Zebop. It's like they.
Why?
Yeah.
Zebop and Rocksteady, what?
That would be better.
Oh, that could.
Honestly, they could have used that. They're expressing, they being the people of this planet. What's this fucking planet
The
called? again?
Ethereans.
The
From Etheria or some shit like that.
the Eternians are expressing
No,
discord.
Arrhythmians. My God.
right.
No, the
That's
Ethereans
right.
are something
The
else
ur-
entirely.
the
Good
Eurythmics.
Lord.
The urethras.
Rhythmics.
Which I'm sure was part of the inspiration for that name. Because I mean, this is
Yeah.
1986.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right.
They're sad that these people are dead. They weren't necessarily aligned to them, but they're maybe mad about the bridge as well. But Zebop and Bosso choralize a melody that raises the Autobots from their ashen graves. And maybe we should go get Prime's body and bring it here while we're at it. This was a part of the harmony that blew the Autobots out of space. On top of everything else, Zebop has offered his services to help the Autobots find Allegra. Broadside is a big gap in the third-party
It'd be
toy
badass.
market. I'm just trying to decide how they would do it. Would they make him giant? Would they make him
Like
small? Which
Unicron
model?
size?
I would
Yeah.
insist.
What model
There's
are they
no
going to
way
use?
they would make him Unicron size because it's not that popular a character.
No, but I think
Yeah.
they would need to make him relatively large. It's an aircraft.
I mean,
carrier.
would he be Ultra Magnus sized?
I would think so. I think that would be a comfortable scale for that. But
Do you
speaking
think
of
there's a
broad,
market for that though?
no, God, no, fuck no.
I
no,
think-
you got to.
okay.
There is a market for
They
it.
would need to
People
ma-
want to fill gaps.
I would think you would want to make it big enough that you could land the jets on him.
Well, you could land power glide on there.
Yeah, like whatever whatever other characters.
So there is.
Yeah,
it is funny
if-
you say that because in the Titans Return line of the mainline Transformers, they did come up with a Broadside who he was a headmaster, and it's based on the other animation model that we'll probably eventually see in the series.
Yeah.
But when he turned into aircraft carrier mode, he came with extra little aerial parts
There you go.
that you
Oh,
could
okay.
peg
There
into
you go.
him, which was
Yeah.
a nice
Yeah.
touch, I
yeah,
think.
absolutely.
Also, Toy Hacks made a sticker set for Titans Return Broadside where you could do them up like the USS Flag. from G.I. Joe.
That's cool. I like that.
There is a market for it, I should say. It's not as big. I mean, it's one of the lowest markets between
Yeah, I
Broadside
think so.
and Sandstorm. Those are the biggest gaps. There is a third-party Sandstorm. It's not very good. Unique Toys made it. I think, but I think it's
about this a lot.
I think it's something that would, just don't make too many of them, I guess, would be my recommendation. But do a 2/3 production run.
But while we're talking about Broadside, I mean, again, he is just an asshole here. Look at the dents on me. I'll be in the body shop for a week, and it's just like, where does this level of vanity come from?
Thank you.
It's like they invented a whole new tech spec for it.
Yeah. Well, and famously, we haven't mentioned this at all yet in this episode, but on Broadside's tech spec, remember, he is both afraid of flying and also afraid of the water.
Yeah, he gets airsick and seasick, which
What?
is like, what kind of
What does that-
psychopath wrote that bio?
Well, that doesn't make
That's
any
a Bob
sense.
Budiansky, my friend.
That doesn't make any sense.
We go to Allegra.
Mm-hmm.
She is composing some kind of symphonic treat.
And this is Mike, where we get the Friday the 13th bit.
Yeah. So, Ryan, do you want to take this, or you want me to take lead
No,
on
oh, you go.
it? you go. I mean, because I've been going this whole time, unfortunately. It's a goddamn Mike Seibert takeover. But yeah, so like, so Allegra is in her retreat
Mm-hmm.
and in front of like some kind of like sophisticated synthesizer machinery of some kind, and she's just doing like this weird dance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I remember correctly, in this particular scene, there isn't any music. Oh shit, we haven't talked about the music yet. I'll come back to that in a quick sec. But no. So this scene is weirdly silent. For as musical as this episode is, it's just this lady just waving her arms, doing this weirdo dance.
Maybe
But
she's
I-
wearing her Apple AirPods.
Could be. It instantly reminded me of one of the more notorious scenes in the Friday the 13th series. In Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, there's a character named Violet who 25 years before Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy, her defining trait was running around in headphones all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this scene where she's in her room by herself, and there's this heavy synth tune called His Eyes by a band called Pseudo Echo.
Yes.
And it is very synthy. It is very Depeche Mode flavored. It's like bam 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 bam. I mean,
yeah,
it's a fucking banger. But
it is
anyways, so
great.
it's definitely an earworm for sure. But there's this scene where she's just like doing like this weird robot dance.
It's
where it's like,
it's a very, what I would describe it as, Violet does this weird soft pop lock.
yes.
dance.
Oh my God, you're right. And hey Ryan, chat about that for a quick sec. I'm actually just gonna find the video here and put it in the chat so we can watch it.
So that is
I meant to and I forgot.
that is the thing Mike tagged me on Twitter. Is like, this is immediately what I thought of, and it is Friday the 13th Part 5, where Violet is in her room doing His Eyes was just bam, there's a man with no life in his eyes, and she's doing this soft pop lock thing that is really fun. Like, it's so good. And Mike and I have talked about doing a Friday the 13th, generally, like, just
Bullshit
podcast
hour.
for a while. And we need to do that because Friday the 13th, as I have said, is my favorite horror franchise. And
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he said that is like, yeah, you're so right. This is exactly what it reminded me of.
Even like some of her hand gestures are very similar between what Allegra is doing and what Violet is doing. But basically, so in Friday the 13th, she's lost in the music, and it's like pam 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 pam, and not Jason ends up killing her off. And I kind of got weird vibes from this scene as well, because Galvatron and Soundwave just basically like roll up on her, and it takes her a sec. Like they could totally Jason this poor girl. So
Should I hit play on
Aaron,
the music?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Aaron, it looks like you got it up. If you want to scroll it back just a titch there,
There we go.
and then we can enjoy.
It's a cool song.
Oh
All right.
no! You get the idea.
Yeah,
It's
that's
almost
enough.
over.
Poor Bob.
Cool
Also,
song.
yeah, no, it is a stone banger. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
anytime I even come close to it, it gets stuck in my head. But it is literally the first thing I thought of with this scene with Allegra here.
So we've got Allegra doing her compositions, doing her pop locking. Soundwave and Galvatron show up, and you know what? I should probably capture a little bit of this audio as well, since it's calls back to our previous conversation.
Very impressive. Get out! Don't be hasty, Allegra. All we ask is the secret of the harmony that destroyed the comet. And in return, we will help you overthrow Basso Profundo's archaic rule. Why should you submit to that old fool's will? We are the future. As our ally, you can have the power.
Very well. Stand by to receive the harmony.
She gives in very easily.
Yeah.
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 And there's no, I mean, we've only seen her in one other scene. There's no indication that power is something she cares about.
No, her character almost cares about nothing and means nothing, except that she's mad that whenever they're mad, they're mean to
Her.
Z-Bob.
Well, no, I thought they were well, we'll find out why she's mad a little bit later.
Kind of, but also not really.
Yeah,
Like
it's
all
pretty
three of
petty.
these, yeah, all these characters are very poorly defined.
Oh,
as,
yes.
as you know, as their rivalries and whatever. But I do want to introduce something here. This is the first episode that well, I don't remember if it's production order or air order, but this is the first episode after Web World, right? So basically,
Yeah.
Galvatron is fresh from his stint at Therapy Planet, and you guys had talked about in your previous episode that it would be cool if Galvatron is suddenly cured of his madness. And obviously we know that that's not the case as the series goes on, but I would say in this episode in particular,
He's chilled out a little bit.
he's pretty chill.
Yeah.
And in the most un-Galvatron type of thing, he, instead of sheer rage and force of will, he charms this girl.
Mm-hmm.
He
You
makes
know,
a case.
He makes a case instead of just like, give me the thing.
But she
or,
also
you know?
she also has something he needs, so he can't just kill her or threaten her, I guess, because he could go the other way and be like, "Give me what I want,
They
or I'll
keep-
kill you." But he knows that that's not. I think maybe he knows deep down that humanoid-esque psychology is you catch flies with honey.
They keep calling it capturing a harmony, but
Yeah.
isn't a harmony? You can't capture a one part, like, because correct me if I'm wrong, people who know about music.
If
But-
only there was a musician with us.
I know, but he's but
Preparing for a passive-aggressive attack.
Are you asleep again? Did Caleb fall asleep again?
Actually,
No,
we are past his
I'm here.
recording time.
No,
to
I
be
was
fair.
I was commenting on a Twitter post of yours. So
but harmony has to be at least two people, right? Like,
or two sources of music that come together.
harmony is, so you've got a melody, which is a single line of notes sung together. Harmony is an additional line of music sung in.
so it doesn't
in
have to be a
relation.
voice. It just has to be.
It has to be two things,
Music.
though.
You can play harmony with guitar.
Okay.
It's got to be two notes.
Okay.
Like I can
So
play,
technically, the way that she's singing could be a harmony because there are more than one. There's more than one note that she's singing.
because of the vocal effects involved. Yeah,
Okay.
But
but that's not.
in
really
reality, if it's just her singing, that's not a harmony.
correct. It cannot be.
Right. You have to have two sources of sound.
You have to, if she somehow could sing those two sounds at once, then
Right.
she would be. It would be
Harmonizing
Then it could
with
be,
herself.
so
It would be
technically,
producing
since
a
she's an
harmonic
alien, she
effect.
could be singing a harmony.
Could be producing a harmonic effect.
Again, that is being charitable, probably. But it is a weird sound, so maybe it is harmonic.
Can you capture her harmony real quick? I want to capture all three of the harmonies.
Like Soundwave.
Yes. So we can destroy
Oh
a
man.
planet.
Soundwave, are you getting this?
Oh yeah.
Are you getting this? I am.
I
I did.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I mean, he again, Soundwave just letting it. He's just straight up edging, just right there, just right there in front of everybody, just horny on main.
I love the idea of sonic edging.
All right.
And while we're kind of held on this moment here, two things, kind of a rose and a thorn. One, the shading fucking rules in this whole sequence, like how both.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's really good at a time where there isn't a lot to hang on to here. Seeing that really cool shading is kind of nice, but it's also interesting when you see Galvatron and Soundwave sharing the space together in this scene. It kind of underscores how weird it is seeing the 1986 cast, like Galvatron, mixed with the 1984 guys. Soundwave and Galvatron just do not go together. Just
I agree.
Aesthetically, it's weirdly jarring.
I agree. Yeah, like that is the thing. It is nice that Soundwave survived the war, but yeah, it is weird to see. I guess the Unicron guys, the purple guys, next to the G1 Decepticons. Like you said, they don't gel really.
Yeah, doesn't even match, and that will I will bring that back around when I share with you my my theory about this episode when we get towards the end.
I'm getting ready to move right now.
Okay.
You gotta go.
I got to go.
Okay, Caleb's
Time.
gotta go.
Yep.
Bye everybody.
It was nice seeing you.
I'll see you guys later.
It was great seeing you, Caleb.
Bye,
Just gotta
Mike.
go do family stuff.
Things happening.
Thank you for bringing the table, Caleb.
We will talk more. You're welcome. We'll talk more about things
Okay.
with the LLC.
That's vague.
APDC
That sounded
LLC.
mildly threatening. We'll talk
Are you
more
down with
about
LLC?
things. And we'll talk more about the things. You don't have to worry about it. Spaghetti. Hello, friends. Ryan here. Caleb had to go, and this is where we have to go, too. I know, it's sad. I'm sure it comes as no surprise to y'all that we were so loquacious in this episode, we had to break it into 2 parts. Well, that and a good fucking tip-off was probably that this is called Part 1. So, fear not, though, listener. You don't have to wait the usual 2 weeks for a new episode. You can tune in next week, and we will drop Part 2, the conclusion of Carnage in C-Minor. We'll also have an upcoming Patreon-exclusive mini-sode with Mr. Seibert coming out later this month. Speaking of which, if you like what we do and would like to prove it monetarily, go to patreon.com/APODcast. We have many different levels of support, and this year's Booty Box rewards are underproduction. Plus, all of our patrons are invited to get together with us and each other on the Discord. Hey, if long-term commitment isn't your bailiwick, you can check out our wares at autopoddecepticast.com/APDC store. You can also buy us a drink by sending us $5 on PayPal to @APODcast. Let me know what you want me to make, and I will feature that cocktail in an upcoming episode. If you'd like to engage, check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of them at APODcast. Finally, we have the web presence, autopoddecepticast.com, where we put up a bunch of fun ancillary material on every episode page. I think that's all she wrote, friends. So until next time, pistols at dawn. Bye, bye, bye.
Cells is the sponsor of Autopod Decepticast. Yes, 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 yes.